Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm meadsy69. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to have a look at Wargaming's video that they did in the top 5 tanks to score wins. Basically, they did a video, top 5 tanks, top 5 tier 10 tanks for winning. Now, I thought this is a bit of a strange video from Wargaming. Top 5 tanks, tier 10 tanks for winning. Personally, I don't think they should have done tier 10. Maybe they should have done just top 5 tanks for winning, because obviously the community watch their videos. They're there to help the community to get better, same as other YouTubers. So the top 5 tanks for winning in tier 10, I just thought was a bit, maybe they shouldn't have done it. Now they've done it anyway. So are we gonna agree on the tanks that they have actually chosen? Now, first of all, I do have to apologise for the sound. The sound's not going to be perfect because me being a 54,000 subscriber YouTuber, I take my role very seriously, professionally, and I'm sat in the car park at Asda. So let's get to the video.
Welcome to Top 5 Tanks. Today we'll introduce you to 5 different Tier 10 vehicles that have one thing in common. They are the easiest to win in. And just as important...
Now, straight up, I think that's wrong. I think that's wrong. Top 5 tanks that easiest to win in. In Tier 10, no tank's easy to win in. I just want to clear that. In tier 10, it doesn't matter what tank you are in, no tank is easy at winning. So that's a big boo-boo there on Wargaming's part.
Anyone can upgrade them. 5th place belongs to the T110E3 American Tank Destroyer.
So in number 5 is the T110E3. Now, as much as I agree that the T110E3 is up there, it is quite an easy tank to win in. It's an OP tank in my opinion, but I don't think it should be number 5. I think it should be further down. Also, I like what Wargaming have done here. They are only including tech tree tanks, so anyone can actually get these tanks. So even though I agree that the E3 should be there, I don't think it should be number 5.
Large, well-armored and fearsome, with 305 millimeters of nominal armor at the front of the cabin. It also has a nicely sloped upper armor plate, making this American tank destroyer difficult to pierce. The lower armor plate is a bit problematic. We'll have to hide it behind cover. If we can't, then shift around while you're in one spot to make it more difficult for enemies to punch through the plate's armor. But don't try too hard. If you shift the hull too much, you might expose the whole side armor behind the rollers. The excellent armor is complemented by a good gun. The APCR and AP shells both boast high single-shot damage and impressive penetration.
See, I love what they're doing. I love they're showing the E3 on the enemy team as well, to show the armor.
Will enable you to more easily track the movement of a light tank that's reckless enough to try and spin you around. The T110E3 is a good choice for those who like to rely on armor without sacrifice.
And I love the fact that they're using that special speed consumable as well, because what makes the tank really, really strong is that OP speed consumable.
Fighting firepower.
So I love the fact that they added that in there.
4th place on our list goes to the mouse. What makes it so
now
good?
This one.
One word: the armor. Blocking damage with this monster is pure joy. There's a dangerous enemy ahead. Side scrape from behind cover. Hide the lower armor plate and return fire the moment.
See, there again, I don't agree with. Side scrape, hide the lower armor. What about the cheeks, Wargaming? What about the cheeks of next to the gun either side, which is really weak? So it's not just about side scraping. You need to angle your turret as well as your hull.
When your opponent shoots. After that, shift the turret to hide the vulnerable cheeks.
Okay, my apologies.
When there's no significant resistance ahead, confidently move
In
forward.
fact, I like what Wargaming have done here in adding that to the mouse. I spoke a bit too soon. I love the fact that they have said once you shoot, angle your turret, because that is what you have to do. But I don't agree with the mouse being in this top 5. It is, even though it's well armored, it's actually quite a difficult tank to play because of the weak spots the tank has got and the speed of the tank. Yeah, I don't think this tank should be in this
Deflect
list.
shells hurled your way and enjoy the ricochets. The mouse has enough HP to boldly push the flanks, especially in urban combat.
Also, I don't like what Wargaming are doing here. I mean, they're shooting this FV4202 and they're trying to make people better players. So one thing what they shouldn't do, and one thing that people does that trigger me, and I do it as well, is when they are aiming at a tank without sniper mode. I mean, there's no reason why they can't go in sniper mode, and you bounce so many shots. I've seen people lose games. I've lost games. It's so often because they decide to take a shot without sniper mode. And even against an FE4202, it's got troll armor. It's got a troll like front turret. It's got a troll front upper plate. So I think if Wargaming are trying to make their players better, I think they should actually be sniper mode in here. It's something only small, but you know, I think they should be sniper mode in against these tanks.
City streets, this tank looks mighty impressive.
People are going to copy him, you know. People are like, we can do this, and they're going to bounce shots.
68 shells. And not a single person's been able to use them up in one battle. The 31,000 HP of damage is more than enough not only to leave no enemy hole unturned, but also to show allies who's in charge. Some might say the mouse is slow, and they would be absolutely, completely, and unequivocally correct. But why hurry when you're the one wielding decisive power? The mouse is the steel fortress that other players rely on.
That's true.
While you're easily deflecting shells, your allies unleash a barrage of fire on the enemy.
Again, I love what Wargaming have said here. They are literally explaining how the mouse should be played, but I still don't agree the mouse should be in this top 5.
Don't forget though, the mouse has the most hit points in the game, and it weighs almost 200 tons. That means you can ram any enemy at your first opportunity and not think about the consequences. Only the luckiest ones will survive this encounter.
What actually annoys me here is with all the tanks, with all the allies behind the mouse. Everyone on the enemy team, I know they're trying to show the mouse how good the mouse is, but this wouldn't happen in game. Like, even though there's the tanks behind the mouse, they'll still easily be anyone can shoot them, but yet everyone's still going for the mouse, where in most situations people would ignore the mouse and they would go for the tanks even behind them. So yeah, I don't think what they're doing here. I think these videos, they need to actually make really good, like,
third place is taken by
because
the
people are going to copy them. People are going to copy them. I don't think this tank should be there.
A solid turret and wonderful depression and elevation angles. It's a true universal soldier that's equally good on any map, in any conditions, and at any time of the day. At the start of the battle, move to a position where you can go hold down and take advantage of the turret. Thanks to its excellent elevation and depression angles, the STB-1 thrives among hills and sand dunes. Roll out, take a shot, and roll back.
Again, I like what Wargaming have done there. Again, they are explaining how to play a tank. And so in this video, they are explaining how to play tanks, but I just think these are the wrong tanks in this top 5. STB is a great tank, but it's still a difficult tank to play. Now, the only way you can actually take advantage is that turret with the STB. I think maybe they should have changed the STB for something like the T62A, because the T62A is just sort of, it's got the gun depression, it has the turret, it has DPM, and it does have the speed. Where the STB, oh my bad, the STB is still a very difficult tank to play. So if you are going to listen to this video, make sure you're listening to what they're saying and playing it how they are saying. That's the only thing I agree with what Wargaming have done really well in this video, is explaining how to play these tanks.
Getting hotter by the minute? Wrap up your business and find a better position. The STB-1 doesn't boast nice accuracy, so the farther it's from enemies, the less likely it'll hit them.
And again, I like what they've done there. They're showing the disadvantages of that tank as well.
Second place is occupied by the quintessence of American power, the T110E5 Heavy.
So again, the T110E5 is actually a really, really good tank. Getting a number 2, coming in at number 2. Yeah, okay, I could agree with Wargaming there, because the E5 is actually a really, really good tank.
Utilizing on irregular terrain, you'll be able to comfortably shoot away by using the good elevation and depression angles, solid turret and terrain. You better try and find a position closer to the enemy, since accuracy isn't its strong point. However, if you get nice and comfy in a good spot, the T110E5, supported by a tank destroyer, can hold back and even destroy superior enemy forces. The T110E5 is nice at attacking and defending, making it an excellent assault tank. It's rather quick for a heavy, as it can cover the distance to the enemy and not give them time to think.
It is really quick for a heavy.
It's also quite dangerous in close-range combat. During the chaos of battle, enemies will find it difficult to aim at weak spots when such a monster is approaching them.
I'm hoping they actually mentioned the speed consumable for this tank as well.
It's time to meet the winner.
It's a shame they don't do that. They didn't mention the speed boost. And unlike the STB, what Wargaming should have done with this video, which I think they've only done for the STB, is the weaknesses as well. Like the E5 has got loads of weaknesses. I mean, it's an American tank. It has got that hatch on top, so Wargaming should have mentioned the hatch, even though it's very small. But it is actually easy to pen if there is an E5 that's just not moving. Of course, it's not great for side scraping as well. So I do think Wargaming, even though they're showing the strengths and how to play the tanks, I think that they should also be saying, but if you're going to win, because this is a tank for winning, they're doing a video for tanks for winning, so they should actually be saying what you shouldn't do in these tanks as well. So I do agree with this.
Easiest tier 10 tank to win in.
I do agree with this. 100%. IS-4 is up there. I recommend it to everyone. Anyone who asks me what tank they should play or what tank they should grind as a first tier 10, I am always saying the IS-4.
It is a difficult task for many an enemy, and even impossible for some. Hide the lower plate to safely deflect shells for long periods and inflict damage without hesitation. The sides.
See, again there. I'll just try and rewind it back a little bit.
Shells for long periods and inflict damage without hesitation.
Here, they're looking at an FV215B. The FV215B has got a crazy turret, and you can just see they've got the heat loaded up. They should be explaining why they're shooting heat, why they need to explain why they are shooting heat, why they need to shoot heat. They're shooting heat because they need to get through the armor of this 215B. So why again are they doing it without sniper mode? They should be doing it with sniper mode.
Trump card up this Soviet heavy sleeve. In the eyes of the enemy, they make this well-protected tank seem even more unapproachable. The IS-4's armor is good. The same can't be said about its maneuverability, though.
Again, they're saying the weaknesses,
stay away from open
which is good.
areas where any semi-agile medium tank can spin you around. The IS-4's main position is on the front line.
Which again,
While
which is
allies
true.
provide covering fire, the IS-4 absorbs damage in every possible way. By side scraping, by reverse side scraping, by going hold down.
I'm glad they added that, actually. People don't really talk about reverse side scraping a lot. So I like the fact that Wargaming themselves have actually said, like, this tank is good in so many situations. Side scraping, hold down, reverse side scraping. That's actually pretty good. I'm glad Wargaming have done that.
The IS-4 is quite capable of shooting as well. It deals up to 420 HP of damage every 10 seconds. And the good armor penetration helps it achieve reliable results. Scoring victories in this tank is pure joy. These are 5 effective Tier 10 tanks for scoring easy victories. Enter the game, upgrade them, and check out their power in person. Subscribe to our channel.
There we go. So, do you agree with them top 5 tanks? Now, I do in a sense. The IS-4, the STB, if you play it how they play it, but I do think maybe the T62 or even the E50M, because of the armor profile, is easier to win than the STB. The E5 definitely up there. They've included the mouse because of the hit points, because of the armor, but in fact the mouse is actually a very difficult tank to play. You have to angle it properly to succeed in it. And again, most of what they say I do agree with the pluses for the tanks, but I just wish they did it for the STB, they did it for the IS-4. They should have discussed more about the weaknesses of the tanks, because obviously this is a video about winning. People need to know about the weaknesses as well as the strengths. But other than that, I think it's a pretty good video from Wargaming. It does show what you need to do to win games, but I don't agree with the whole concept of top 5 tier 10 tanks for winning the game. Maybe they did it because obviously that's what people want to get. People want to get tier 10. I don't know. So other than, I don't think it should have been top 5 tier 10s. Maybe it should have just been top 5 tanks for winning. They could have easily done it for tech tree tanks in the whole game. Maybe they are doing it to sort of counter seal clubbing. Imagine if Wargaming did a video for top 5 winning tanks and they included like a tier 4. So yeah, in that sense, okay, it kind of makes sense that they are doing top 5 sort of tier 10, because that is where everyone sort of wants to go. So maybe that is why they want to stop the seal clubbers, so that's why they're only showing the tier 10. So a good video. I do admit that is actually a good video. I thought I was actually going to rip Wargaming a bit more than I have. Everything they said on the plus side of the tanks, yeah, I definitely agree with. They mentioned consumables, they mentioned side scraping, hold down. So other than, I think, do you know what, this is actually a really good video. There's a couple of things I don't agree with, but I mean, you guys are probably not going to agree with a couple of things I said. It's how it is. Not everyone agrees with the videos, everything you say in the videos. So apart from that, I think it's a really good video. You should definitely check it out. And these are top 5 tanks. These are good tanks that you should get. Bar the mouse, again, the mouse is very difficult. The STB I'm going to make a video on the STB. The STB is a great tank, but I would have probably swapped the STB for something like the T62 or even the E50M because of the armor profile. But other than that is it, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope this does help, and thank you for Wargaming for that video. It is actually a really good video. So I'm meadsy69. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. With